We have been improving very quickly. I would attribute it mostly to paying very, very close attention to details, which is really important in this sport.
Al thinks outside the box and has a very creative mind. His only problem right now is learning how to ride the new bike he built because it's so unusual, but I'm sure he'll get it taken care of.
Right now, I'm working on this project. I call it a T200, which is a race motorcycle project based on a 1950 Triumph pre-unit engine, gearbox combination, and build a frame for it with bodywork and trying to go 200 plus and be the first vintage class motorcycle that will get into the 200 mile club, hopefully.
Well, I met Alp about 5 or 6 years ago. He came up to compete with a little Triumph motorcycle, so we became friends. He builds his own engines, and he's good at that. Honestly, he's good at anything he decides to undertake. If he makes a mistake, he just does it again and does it right the second or third time, but he doesn't quit, which is a really good trait, especially in this racing.
I'm trying to build a bike that goes 200 because nobody has done this before in the vintage class. And I think my top fuel engines are capable of going 200 plus. I used hammer and dolly and made it smooth with the English wheel, the old-fashioned way, like the guys in the 50s and 60s were building these old handmade cars, you know.
His background is in industrial design. And I think a lot of that comes into play too. Like, for example, the sitting position, that's pretty unusual.
I always design like according to the person that rides the bike, and all my bikes I just designed the way I ride it. Wanted to build a partial streamlined bike, but still unique and more aerodynamic, because the rider has to be visible from the side and from the top. What they do, they basically have a bodywork, but then the legs, the foot is visible and there's a cutout from the side. But that also disturbs the airflow. So I wanted to have no cutouts, but still be visible from the side. So I came up with this sitting position where you pull your knees, make yourself really small, and have your feet upside down.
The idea with going fast is to keep your body out of the airflow. Your shoulders are the widest part of your body, and that naturally is about how wide everybody builds their bodies. But in his case, he built a narrower body and he turns his shoulders sideways to narrow them to ride the bike. No one's ever done that before, ever.
So everything on this bike, center of pressure areas, the center of gravity, everything is designed according to the sitting position. And once you're in there, it kind of turns almost into a full streamliner because I'm filling that gap. As a racer, there's nothing like Bonneville Speed Week. Bonneville Speed Week is a place where people from all over the world meet each other to see people what they did, to see their ideas, to help racers.
The corners of the... Okay.
Good to see you, Bill. The frame is actually almost the same design as my previous A-frame. It's just a little longer, you know, same technique. The only difference is basically it overlaps the bodywork instead of being underneath. So air doesn't get in because it's fuel cooled.
We're running nitromethane, and it's basically liquid dynamite. It's very explosive, so I think there's a lot of fear involved with it because it is a serious fuel. They call it top fuel for a reason.
It's as hard as you want to make it. It depends on how successful you want to be. It's a lot of fun, and if you just come up for the fun, it's not hard. If you come up after records, it can be very hard.
Yep, fire. You never know what can go wrong. But then somebody said, if everything feels like under control, then you're not fast enough anyway. Landspeed racing is interesting because It has many classes, and in the vintage class, money is not the only thing that will make you go fast, because you're not really relying on new parts or new technology. You have to come up with some ideas and make that 1950 motor go faster. It's about ideas. It motivates the small guy, makes him believe he can come out and kick ass, go faster than a factory team motorcycle.
Racing design, Alps van Groningen. The bike 113, the vintage shooter bike on the short course, 134.427 in the mile 2. In the quarter, 139.473. That's 15 miles per hour over the record.